Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. I'm so incredibly grateful to share a message with you all today, even though my voice is really strained. I want to begin with the story of my first Ramadan as a Muslim. I was 19 and it was incredibly hot summer. I was living with my best friend and 3 roommates in a 5-bedroom apartment in Medford, just the city over. And the highlight of my fast breaking was hate reading 50 Shades of Grey for research. I was working at a call center. My rent was less than $500 a month. And I felt very carefree with that fact for the most part. I was also missing friends and family. I felt alone and was for the most part. My father's family wasn't accepting of the fact that I had converted to Islam, and most of my Muslim friends had gone home for the summer. My mother, who is also Muslim, was hundreds of miles away. I had learned to celebrate a month of community on my own. This month of Ramadan will be my 10th Ramadan as a Muslim. I no longer fast as a part of my annual practice, and yet is the time when I feel most connected to the divine. During this month, it is said that the gates of Jahannam, or hell, are closed, and that demons are locked up, and the gates of Jannah, or paradise, are opened. But every month of Ramadan, I still struggle to find ways to connect to my Muslim community. As a queer and trans Muslim convert, I often, very intentionally, do not conform to gender norms that are expected of me. I've turned to the divine and inward to build an authentic sense of self, one that is not reactive to social expectations. I've also intentionally built myself a new sense of family, one which we mutually choose each other on a daily basis. No family, however, is without conflict or dispute. So how does family and Ramadan come together? Well, there's many lessons to take away from Ramadan that are not specifically fasting related. Self-reflection and asking for forgiveness from people as well as from the divine are seen as central tasks to the celebration of the month of Ramadan. One of the core tenets of seeking forgiveness, in my opinion, is accountability. Owning our behaviors and actions aids in moving forward communities. One cannot simply walk through life leaving a trail of unaccounted mistakes and ask for forgiveness. Anthony J. Nacella states that while restorative justice only addresses the specific conflict between the victim and the offender, transformative justice strives to use the conflict as an opportunity to address larger sociopolitical injustices. The Quran itself is centered in transformative justice in this life on earth. Chapter 4 states, "O you who believe, be steadfast, maintainers of justice, witnesses for God, though it be against yourselves or your parents and kinsfolk, and whether it be someone rich or poor, for God is near unto both. So follow not your caprice, that you may act justly. If you distort or turn away, truly God is aware of whatsoever you do." And for those who don't understand what is basically Old English, this verse boils down to maintaining justice no matter who you need to stand up against. This is a necessity for transformative justice as it calls upon people with power to betray their traditional ideals and maintenance of a status quo. So how does one do transformative justice? Adrienne Marie Brown poses 3 questions in an article regarding this topic, stating that these 3 questions are helpful for growth. She says, firstly, listen with why as a framework. Secondly, she says, ask yourself or yourselves, what can I or we learn from this? And thirdly, how can my real-time actions contribute to transforming the situation versus making it worse? She states, transformative justice requires us at minimum to ask ourselves questions like these before we jump teeth bared for the jugular. I think this is some of the hardest work, she states. It's not about pack hunting an external enemy. It's about deep shifts in our own ways of being. But if we want to create a world in which conflict and trauma aren't the center of our collective existence, we have to practice something new, ask different questions, access again our curiosity about each other as a species. So how does this all apply to Ramadan? Laylat al-Qadr, or the Night of Power, which is the chapter of the Quran, which I just had read from Holly prior to this, relates to Laylat al-Qadr, which is the Night of Power, the night in which Muslims commemorate the celebration of the revelation of the first 10 verses of the Quran to Prophet Muhammad. It is said that on this night, a single act of kindness gives the blessings of 1,000 months. Every year, Muslims congregate on this night to pray, give devotion to God, and seek forgiveness for ourselves and ancestors from both community and from the divine. While transformative justice does not happen overnight, I do believe there is importance to seek forgiveness for the wrongs that we have committed. Similar to many holidays that practice repentance, I believe in a need for seeking accountability for actions on a regular basis, not a holiday basis, and more explicitly from our community rather than just the divine. So how do we accomplish this? As discussed earlier, the focus here is transformation, and therefore we must work beyond what makes us feel good and more on getting better as a species at not harming our own. Undoing centuries of harm produced by white supremacy, colonialism, and power grabbing does not feel good, nor should it make us feel warm and fuzzy. And this work falls on everyone, but especially white folks and people with historical and current privileges. Apologies and affirmations of allyship only go so far in a society where Black and Brown people suffer due to systemic oppression. If we are truly to transform our society, we must grow beyond learned greed and give back what was never ours in the first place: land, money, artifacts, knowledge, culture. This needs to start now. No more floundering or excuses. Humanity needs an overhaul when it comes to apologizing better. It is my hope that you can take away from today's lessons of understanding how to transform yourself through your community in the form of reparations. May our communities learn how to heal by giving back, forgiving ourselves, and continuing to unlearn the destructive natures of our ancestors. May we all learn how to connect with our faiths, lack thereof, our communities, both macro and micro, and continue the difficult work of healing. Thank you.